Into the Wilderness, based on The Call of the Wild by Jack London. Published in 1903, the rope cut into Buck's neck like a burning brand, but it was nothing compared to the bewilderment that clouded his mind. Just hours ago, he had been the undisputed king of Judge Miller's estate in the sun-kissed Santa Clara Valley. A magnificent St. Bernard Scotch collie mix who had never known want, never felt harsh words, never imagined a world beyond the sprawling lawns and comfortable kennels of his California paradise. Now he found himself caged in the baggage car of a train thundering northward, surrounded by sounds and smells that spoke of a world utterly foreign to everything he had known. The rhythmic clacking of wheels seemed to mock the steady heartbeat of his former peaceful existence, while the acrid smoke that filtered through the wooden slats carried whispers of adventure and danger. But it was the men who had taken him that haunted Buck's thoughts most. The gardener's helper, Manuel, had betrayed 4 years of trust for reasons Buck couldn't fathom. The stranger in the red sweater had demonstrated a casual brutality that shattered Buck's faith in human kindness. And now, as the train carried him toward an unknown destination, Buck began to sense that his journey was leading him toward something far more profound than mere geographical change. In the darkness of his cage, strange sensations began to stir within Buck's consciousness. Ancient memories seemed to pulse just beneath the surface of his civilized mind. Visions of wild spaces, of survival earned rather than granted, of a time when his ancestors had answered to no master but the harsh laws of nature itself. These phantom recollections grew stronger with each mile that separated him from California, as if distance from civilization was somehow awakening something primordial in his blood. The other dogs in nearby cages carried scents that spoke of hard experience. Their eyes held a wariness that Buck's pampered existence had never required, and their lean frames suggested lives shaped by necessity rather than comfort. When they looked at him, he sensed both pity and anticipation, as if they recognized something in him that he had yet to discover in himself. As the train climbed into colder regions, Buck felt the temperature drop with an intensity that seemed to penetrate his very bones. The air grew thin and sharp, carrying odors of pine and snow and something wild and indefinable that made his nostrils flare with sudden alertness. His thick coat, bred for California's mild climate, began to respond to the cold with a density he had never experienced. Then came the sounds, howls that drifted across the frozen landscape like voices from another world. They spoke of loneliness and freedom, of hunt and pack, of laws older than human civilization. Each haunting call seemed to resonate with something deep in Buck's chest, something that had been sleeping all his life, but was now beginning to stir with increasing urgency. When the train finally shuddered to a halt in what seemed like the edge of the world itself, Buck glimpsed his destination through the slats of his cage. A landscape of white stretched endlessly in all directions, broken only by dark spears of spruce and the distant outline of mountains that scraped the belly of gray clouds. This was a realm where comfort was earned through strength, where weakness meant death, and where the old laws of tooth and claw still held dominion. The men who came to claim the dogs spoke in harsh voices that cracked like whips in the frigid air. Their faces were weathered by wind and cold. Their eyes held the calculating look of those who had learned to judge survival by the set of shoulders and the steadiness of gaze. When they looked at Buck, he sensed they saw something beyond his current state, potential that would need to be awakened, tested, and perhaps broken before it could be truly useful. As they prepared to unload the cages, Buck felt the first stirrings of a transformation that would challenge everything he thought he knew about himself. The wilderness was calling to something in his blood, something that had been waiting for this moment of awakening. With this should be read, London's masterpiece remains one of literature's most powerful explorations of the tension between civilization and primordial instinct. Through Buck's transformation, The novel examines fundamental questions about nature versus nurture, the price of survival, and the call of ancestral memory that lies dormant in all of us. It's a timeless tale that speaks to anyone who has ever felt the pull of something wild and authentic beneath the veneer of civilized existence.